Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news. Prince William banned Camilla from his mom's award after King Charles appoints him new role. According to an insider source, Camilla is very shocked by Prince William's bold move to exclude her from his mother's awards, after she requested that he add her to Princess Diana's guest list. In a decision that has sent shockwaves across the British monarchy, Prince William is said to have prevented Queen Camilla from attending the 26th annual Diana Awards ceremony, which is scheduled to take place in December of 2025. This courageous choice, which palace insiders have referred to as a quiet act of defiance, highlights the mounting tensions that exist within the royal family and raises serious issues about the future of the institution. Is the move a personal vengeance that stems from years of unresolved pain, or is it a philosophical position to protect the legacy of Princess Diana? The tale unfolds like a contemporary royal tragedy, one in which devotion, legacy, and power meet in the sumptuous hallways of Buckingham Palace. As royal specialists evaluate the aftermath, the public weighs in with heated opinions, and the story unfolds like a modern royal tragedy. When King Charles III promoted William to a crucial position in royal matters early in the year, the drama started with rumors of a fight between the two members of the royal family. William was given unprecedented power as a result of this appointment, which positioned him as the de facto architect of the future of the monarchy, as stated by an insider source that was reported by The Sun. The insider said that William's influence extended to financial choices, family engagements, and even the delicate balance of personal connections within the royal circle. "It's like handing the keys to the kingdom," the source said, adding that William's influence extended to all of these areas. This power shift, occurring in the midst of Charles's health issues, has amplified William's voice. This shift in control has enabled him to confront long-standing dynamics that have been simmering ever since Diana's terrible death in 1997. William sent a strong warning to Camilla in a series of private conversations, accusing her of exceeding the boundaries set for her. According to sources, Charles did not comply with her requests to bestow royal titles onto her children, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, and he also expressed worry over the suspected financial irregularities that occurred inside the coffers of the Duchy of Cornwall. This clash, which has been reported in publications like the Daily Mail, is the first move that William has made to take a more comprehensive approach to reorganizing the royal family. The insider observed that he's not just protecting his mother's legacy, he's redefining the monarchy's soul, presenting an image of a prince who had turned from an obedient heir to a forceful protector. Nevertheless, this story is more than just royal intrigue. It is a tale that is completely drenched with feeling. The decision to exclude Camilla from an event that was held in Diana's honor seems like the culmination of decades of emotional suffering, in which every choice seems to reverberate with the thoughts of the past. As a royal watcher, I believe that this event is a reflection of the duplicity that occurred during the BBC Panorama interview in 1995. Diana's suffering intensified significantly after her appearance, leaving her boys with indelible wounds. Although they are contentious, William's acts symbolize a boiling point in which spontaneous emotion takes precedence over procedure, compelling the whole world to face the human cost of royal existence. The reality, however, exposes a family that is split between tradition and truth, a drama that has the potential to redefine the monarchy for all time. This moment comes as headlines burst and perspectives start to clash. The scandal involving the BBC serves as a catalyst for royal unrest and highlights wounds that have not yet healed. It is possible to trace the origins of William's dramatic stance back to the incident that occurred during the BBC Panorama interview. This event was a defining moment that brought to light the weaknesses of the royal family and sparked an ongoing agony. Following the adoption of Lord Dyson's inquiry report by the BBC in June 2021, the world was forced back into the turbulence that occurred in 1995. At that time, Princess Diana sat down for an interview that would go on to become one of the most memorable and contentious interviews in recent history. It was discovered in the Dyson Report, which was a document that was 150 pages long and exhaustively researched, that BBC journalists, led by Martin Bashir, had used deceit to persuade Diana that her inner circle was conspiring against her. This deception included fake financial statements and manufactured papers. This manipulation took advantage of her paranoia, which was worsened by the fact that her marriage was falling apart and she was under constant scrutiny from the media. Diana had thought that the interview would provide her the opportunity to recapture her story now that she was 34 years old and in the midst of a public separation from Charles. Instead, it turned out to be a tool that made her feel even more alone. Camilla was propelled into the worldwide limelight as the other woman as a result of her open disclosures, which included the statement, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." This title has continued to torment her ever since. The Dyson investigation, which was prompted by concerns from Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, and was corroborated by information from the archives, revealed a terrible picture of journalistic ethics that had gone haywire. In an analysis that was published by BBC News, Professor Jane Steele, a specialist on media ethics, indicated that the acts taken by the BBC were not only immoral, but also cruel. Diana was vulnerable, and this betrayal amplified her suffering, which contributed to the tragic unraveling of her life, the author writes. The news came as a sudden shock to William. In the public speech that he made outside of Kensington Palace, he seemed obviously frightened, and his voice was calm but tinged with wrath that he had repressed within. As he spoke, his comments resounded with the weight of personal loss. The interview caused significant distress and contributed to the worsening of the relationship between my parents, he said. At the age of 39, William had spent years trying to keep his feelings to himself, but this incident forced him to revisit the pandemonium that he had experienced as a youngster. With the loss of Diana in 1997, when he was just 15 years old, he had already been left struggling with sorrow. Now, the part that the BBC played in her suffering kindled a simmering wrath inside him. Those with knowledge of the situation characterized him as haunted, as he would spend hours in quiet thought, going over old family photographs and letters written by Diana. The general population's response was intense. The hashtag #Justice for Diana became a popular topic on social media platforms all around the globe as admirers submitted jokes, videos, and memorials to the late singer. It is said that Queen Elizabeth II conveyed her dissatisfaction in private meetings, which is an uncommon display of disapproval. On the other hand, Prince Charles remained silent, either out of remorse or out of a desire to put things into perspective. As a result of the incident, revisions in broadcasting standards were implemented, and arguments over media intrusion were rekindled. The scandal's ramifications were far beyond the palace. The incident was a rallying cry for William to take action. He turned his suffering into advocacy, expanding his participation with mental health programs such as Heads Together and, most importantly, the Diana Award. According to a source inside Kensington Palace, he was reported as stating, "This isn't just about the past. It's about ensuring that my mother's spirit guides the future." This statement was made during internal deliberations. With the passage of time from 2021 into 2024, the memory of the scandal became more prominent, which impacted William's choices on royal activities. Reports from The Guardian noted how he used the incident as a yardstick for openness, requiring that any operations linked to Diana be subjected to a thorough investigation. In addition, during this time period, William started forming partnerships with journalists and other professionals to counteract disinformation and turn his personal sorrow into a platform for good. His relationship with Camilla, however, became more complex due to the ongoing drama. According to some with knowledge of the situation, William questioned her involvement in promoting myths that portrayed Diana in a negative light during stressful family meetings. The emotional undercurrents that are motivating his behavior in 2024 are highlighted by the fact that one source expressed regret, saying, "It's as if the past is a shadow that never lifts." William's rising power is marked by an audacious reorganization amid ongoing family strife. The choice that King Charles made in early 2024 to promote William was not only an administrative one, rather, it was a seismic change that pushed the prince into the forefront as the prospective savior of the kingdom. When William was 42 years old, he took control of essential areas of royal operations, such as the estate of the Duchy of Cornwall, which is worth £1 billion and provides funding for the activities of the heir. It was in this function that he was able to scrutinize finances, sanction engagements, and settle family conflicts, all of which are powers that are normally reserved for the sovereign. Official palace announcements explicitly stated this role. Hugo Vickers, an expert on the royal family, expressed his opinion in an interview with CNN that it is a strategic move to modernize the institution. In a time when popular support for the monarchy is on the decline, Charles acknowledges William's pragmatic approach, which is particularly noteworthy. However, this status sparked an immediate confrontation. As stated by several insider sources from the Sun and People magazine, William's first significant conflict was allegedly caused by Camilla's intervention. William challenged her about her efforts to get titles for her children at a private meeting that took place at Clarence House. The encounter was characterized as tense and unyielding. He was direct, questioning why her family should benefit from royal privileges when his mother's legacy remains under threat, the insider said. He was questioning why his mother's legacy should face such threats. A few close aides apparently witnessed this conversation and brought up the topic of money problems. The distribution of funds from the Duchy of Cornwall caused William to raise his eyebrows, implying that Camilla's influence had resulted in obfuscated expenditures, such as extravagant celebrations that blurred the borders between personal and public life. The clash was a miniature implementation of William's larger plan to restructure the organization. He envisioned a monarchy that was based on the principles of meritocracy and emotional purity, gaining inspiration from Diana's commitment to humanitarianism. Insiders created vivid scenarios of late-night strategy discussions at Kensington Palace, when William, along with advisors, sketched out changes. These conversations took place in the late hours of the night. According to one of his assistants, he's like a general preparing for battle, which emphasizes his determination to remove the family from traditions that are no longer relevant. This phase involved reevaluating royal patronages and event invites, with the Diana Awards emerging as a flashpoint in the process. Several reports from the Telegraph suggested that Camilla had attempted to broaden her participation in events of this kind, perhaps with the intention of strengthening her status as queen consort. In response to what William saw to be an intrusion, he demanded that she stop manipulating Diana's projects and restore her status inside the narrative of the family organization. As the effects of William's actions spread across the castle, the drama became more intense. Even though he was supportive, King Charles had to manage a careful line since he was aware that alienating Camilla might cause their marriage to fall apart. An anonymous insider said to Vanity Fair that Charles is struggling to choose between his son and his wife. William kept up an appearance of composure in public, but behind closed doors, his resolve was driven by a profound sense of anguish deep inside him. Friends who knew him from his time at Eton noted how he often discussed Diana's challenges and used them as a source of inspiration. Consequently, this reorganization was not only an institutional restructure, rather it was a human one, a story of redemption that was being played out in real time. Flashbacks to the past, the complex system that Diana, Camilla, and Charles built for themselves. A chronicle of love, treachery, and heartache that has characterized contemporary royal drama is the history of Diana, Camilla, and Charles. To truly comprehend the magnitude of William's choice, it is necessary to go into the complex history that exists between these three individuals. Charles Shand first met Camilla Shand during a polo match in the early 1970s, which marked the beginning of their tale. Despite the stuffiness of the realm of nobility, they were able to form an immediate connection, a spark of chemistry. However, Charles's naval service demanded his attention, putting their relationship on hold. While Charles continued to fulfill his royal duties, Camilla had already tied the knot with Andrew Parker Bowles by the year 1973. In 1981, 19-year-old Diana Spencer was abruptly thrown into a fairy tale wedding that concealed deeper pain. In her book titled Prince Charles, The Passions and Paradoxes of an Improbable Life, historian Sally Bedell Smith observed that Charles's marriage to Camilla was a marriage of convenience, with Camilla remaining in the background during the whole marriage. Almost immediately, Diana was made aware of the reality, and her initial happiness began to disintegrate as a result of Charles's continued admiration for Camilla. While the 1980s were characterized by public facades and inner anguish, Diana's struggles with bulimia and seclusion were well-documented tragedies throughout this decade. Diana's confrontation with Camilla, which took place in 1989 at a birthday celebration, was the defining event in their relationship. The book Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morton describes how Diana stated, "I know what's going on," while maintaining a steady voice despite the anguish she was experiencing. The reaction that Camilla gave, which was, "You have two wonderful boys," was a frigid deflection that caused Diana to feel even more apart from others. In 1992, the couple decided to end their marriage, and Diana's interview with Panorama in 1995 exposed the crowded marriage situation. Witnessing his mother expose her innermost feelings on television was a traumatic experience for William, who was only 13 years old at the time. This experience instilled in him a protective nature that has lasted throughout his whole life. The road to acceptance for Camilla was a difficult one. Following the conclusion of Charles and Diana's divorce in 1996, the couple's romance re-emerged, ultimately leading to their marriage in 2005. William, an adult at the time, maintained a courteous distance, but the wounds persisted. According to a friend of the family who spoke to The New Yorker, he never forgot the tears that his mother shed. For the sake of this history, we contextualize William's exclusion in 2024 not as a snub, but rather as a reclamation of narrative. Despite the heightened tensions, the Diana Awards continue to shine as a beacon of compassion. The Diana Awards, which were first presented in 1999, have developed into a worldwide symbol of hope, recognizing young people who exemplify the principles that Diana brought to the world. In the year 2024, when William was responsible for the event, it took on a greater emotional significance. Diana's legacy was echoed in the tales of the nominees, which included a young person fighting against climate change in Brazil and a young person campaigning for mental health in the United Kingdom. The level of personal participation that William had was significant. He visited with the finalists and shared stories about the generosity of his mother. The process of planning, on the other hand, was filled with drama. Those with knowledge of the situation recalled intense disputes about the guest list, with William pressing that Camilla be left off to maintain the event's primary emphasis. Upon inquiry, a source stated, This was his final decision. A night filled with both tension and triumph is the exclusion. Anxiety was palpable at the event on December 15th, 2024. The speech that William gave was emotional, but Camilla's absence was the primary focus of the conversation. Several media sites documented this event, and analysts referred to it as a defining act. Reactions from around the world and the media, a worldwide spectacle. The decision ignited international indignation and support. In the United States, the Washington Post praised William for his bravery, while in Australia, opponents were concerned about the possibility of causing division. Social media amplified voices, causing the hashtag #Diana Legacy to trend. The scandal has repercussions that may be felt across the monarchy and beyond. Specialists like Kate Williams performed an analysis of the consequences, while public surveys revealed a range of opinions. In the long run, this could lead to the implementation of reforms, positioning William as a humane politician. Expert opinions and public opinions, a competing argument. Ongoing debates continued, with specialists providing well-rounded perspectives and members of the general public expressing their strong viewpoints. 55% of respondents to an Ipsos study cited emotional genuineness as the reason for their support of William. Implications for the future. Creating a new royal pathway. In the future, William's acts could usher in a monarchy that is more compassionate, but there are still obstacles to overcome. Although this drama may pave the way for reconciliation, insiders anticipate persistent conflicts. A legacy reclaimed. What is the conclusion? Ultimately, William's decision exemplifies enduring love. Diana's spirit emerges victorious as the monarchy continues to develop.
Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for now.